People get hired for jobs every day. Department of Labor says 230,000 people were hired for jobs just last month. So bringing a new employee on board should not be rocket science. It's not sending a man to the moon, unless you're my employer. Now, I work at a large factory over there on Route 30 as a tour guide. I'm not going to name the company. I don't want to throw anybody under the motorcycle. And since forever, tour guides have been contract employees. So when I was hired, I worked for Manpower. And my coworkers were with Manpower, Tempstar, other temp agencies. But on May 21st, week before Memorial Day, we were called in for a surprise staff meeting, which we never have. And our new supervisor came in from Milwaukee to tell us that, surprise, we're not going to be contractors anymore. We're going to be hired by the company as regular employees with, benefits and paid vacation days and holidays and stuff like that. This is not a bad thing. I mean, it was such a surprise that even my boss didn't know about it. It was out of the blue. They told us that on Monday, May 21st. One catch, just as a formality, they needed us to apply for our jobs by the next day. It's an electronic application in this day and age. Most of my coworkers are retirees in their 70s, at least one in his 80s. Having to create a login, figure out how the application works, upload your electronic resume within 24 hours, that was probably asking a lot. Especially since the login was our company email address. And when they told us that, my question was, what company email address? I don't have a company email address. But we worked that out. We all managed to submit our resumes and fill out the application form. One of my coworkers, who had been there for 18 years, filled out the application and was told that she was not going to be hired for the job. She worked that out. So then next up, we had to do the medical check and drug screen. And this is great and simple because we have a health center right there in the factory. All you got to do is walk down the hall, take care of it. Except that there's a third party that's doing the scheduling for this. So you got to call this other company to set up your drug screen. And I called them on the Thursday, right before Memorial Day weekend, and they said, well, all the appointments for today are already full. I said, that's not a problem. Tomorrow's Friday, I'll be on vacation. Monday's a holiday, so set me up for next Tuesday. Oh, we can't do that. That's too late. It has to be done before then. I said, fine, then schedule me for today. Well, all the appointments today are full. I said, we're not really solving this problem if you just keep repeating yourself. I am not giving up my vacation to pee in a cup. They worked it out, gave me an appointment that day, went in, and at that point I was basically so hacked off at everything that I just went into full sarcasm mode. And I admit, I got a little lippy with the guy at the health center, to the point where he had to look at me and say, you need to act like a professional or we can schedule this for another time. And I unzipped my pants and filled that cup with the most professional stream of urine I could imagine. Problem solved. Come back from Memorial Day holiday. Next, they tell us we have to do our online cybersecurity training, which makes sense, except that none of us actually use computers in our job. And of course, to get for your online cybersecurity training, you have to use your login, which is your company email. So each of us had to spend half an hour on the phone with the IT office in Milwaukee, working out a way to hack through the system so you could log in to take the cybersecurity training. Which we did, and then we went in to get our security badges. And that's simple. You walk over to the security office at the main entrance of the factory, and we walked over there and they said, we don't know what the hell you're talking about. They didn't know that we were being hired as employees. We went back 3 days later, they had figured it out. gave us our new security badges, and it was a great 24 hours with that security badge until the next day when they randomly canceled it. Don't know why the security department in Milwaukee decided to cancel some of our badges. It happens. We still haven't been able to submit any hours of work because they tell us that we have to put it in a time clock. And I said, that's great. There's a time clock right over outside that door 100 feet away. Oh no, that's a York time clock. Our department falls underneath the company museum based in Milwaukee. We need a Milwaukee time clock. I don't know how the time clock knows what time zone it's in or whether it matters that my 7 hours are Eastern, not Central, but apparently it does. A month later, I still haven't filled out a tax form. They gave my coworkers tax forms. They were Canadian. So we filled out our Canadian W-4s. It's every day. We have to go to new employee orientation. For my boss, that was in Milwaukee. It took him a day to work that out, that he's not going to Milwaukee after 17 years in the company. I do not have to go to new employee orientation, even though they serve free pizza. It's been 5 weeks. I may be one of the 230,000 people hired last month. I may not be. You've said the story has to have a beginning, May 21st, a middle, you just heard it. Does it have an end? I honestly don't know at this point. I'll update you next month.